Welcome back. We're discussing the fallout of not just the report of the Lancet when it comes to the efficacy of the Covishield vaccine waning after the first 90 days is what Lancet observes. What does this mean for us here in India, where already the number of COVID cases, particularly in the national capital, have been rising? They're the highest in the past 6 months. Let me take this across to Dr. Sandeep Diwan. Govardhan, Professor of Molecular Medicine, is also with us. Dr. Sandeep Diwan, coming to you first, at this point of time, the number of cases in Delhi are rising. That is, it's out there. It's information that the Delhi government is and the DDMA is quite clearly concerned about. They've imposed restrictions for those who would be there in public gatherings on holidays such as Christmas and New Year's Eve. But is that enough? Is it time for us to perhaps look at more interventions to break the chain of Omicron?
Hello, yeah, I'm audible?
Yes, you're audible, sir. Please go ahead.
Definitely, we need to be now proactive as far as the restrictions are concerned. We have seen all across in the past few weeks and months that the COVID appropriate behavior has gone for a 6. People are roaming around in the marketplaces. We have started seeing a lot of weddings, gatherings. So I think all those restriction bills have to start coming into play. And as we are talking, I think there's some restrictions which have already commenced from 30th December to 2 Jan, looking at the new year in mind. But I think these restrictions have to be applied in the next 2-3 weeks, and we'll have to see how the pandemic pans out. See, there's no way we can assume that the numbers will not rise. I think UK, Africa, Singapore had its wave 2 months back. UK is still in the midst of a wave. So there's no way we can think that the numbers will not rise, but can we control it? That will only be decided by how much behavioral changes we can make more in ourselves and how much restrictions governments can bring, most importantly on the paper, but more importantly also on the ground.
Professor Govardhan Das, the most important aspect that many are looking at, and we brought out here on Times Now, how in August it was recommended to the government to bring out a booster dose policy. We are now at the end of December, and even as we're looking at the calendar year changing, we are no closer to knowing what the government's booster dose policy is. Whereas several other countries have already announced it, many have even started administering it. But in the wake of Omicron and the fresh threat that emerges from it, don't you think that this is very important, particularly for vulnerable sections and healthcare workers?
Good evening. I would like to answer this question in 2 ways. Number one, right at this moment we are talking about the Omicron, which has the 32 mutation in its spike protein in vaccines, especially in India, the Covishield is a spike protein recombinant in adenovirus. So basically, if the original immune response is not really recognizing, then a booster dose is not going to work. That's because booster dose may not be, would not make any new immune responses. So therefore, probably the booster dose may not be very good idea. Especially, however, I would like to point out one thing. So I should not say booster dose is not be working. That I'm talking about the people, the regular people, those who do not have comorbidity. For comorbid people, those who have the comorbidity, this is not only the Omicron, they have to, or for that matter, if our vaccine is not working or the original vaccine is not working, we have to worry for all other mutations. It's not only for Omicron. So the second thing. Third thing, I would like to mention here that throughout the world, there are 89 countries now spread this Omicron, which is 5 times more, spreading power is 5 times more than the Delta. And in fact, the Omicron causes the very mild symptoms. And if you look at the data, the death, there are only...
Well, that's the only silver lining, perhaps, Professor Govardhan Das, that only the symptoms so far are mild. But at the end of the day, we certainly wouldn't want a community spread of Omicron to take place. At the same time, all our citizens will have to play a very proactive and positive role in ensuring that they do take all the appropriate COVID protocols to break the chain of the spread. I'd like to thank both of you for joining us. We're slipping into a very quick break.